What if I told you the secret to staying healthy, active, and independent, even at 89 years old, is growing right in your backyard? Hey, I'm Amanda, and welcome back to the Provident Gardener. Today we are here with someone very special, my grandmother-in-law Emalie, who is almost 89 years old. Now, a lot of people at that age might start slowing down, but Emalie is out here in her garden all the time, proving that age really is just a number. Today we're going to explore Emalie's garden. She's going to tell us why she still gardens, how it's kept her vibrant at the age of 89, and secrets that she's learned over decades of maintaining and growing her own food. Trust me, what you're going to hear today will change the way you think about gardening and aging. So Emalie, you get to celebrate 89 years this month, and you have this huge, beautiful garden where some people might slow down, move to a smaller place. You've been here for a long time and you're still maintaining this garden. It's not small. Why do you still garden even though you're 89 years old?
Sometimes I ask myself that question, but I think it's just kind of a way of life. I grew up in the end of the Depression, and my family had a large garden, and we had chickens and pigs and cows, and that's how we ate. We didn't buy much at the store. And I guess it just still seems like the way of life. And I always think, hard times might be coming, and this is kind of a way to make life a little easier if you've got your own food.
Now, growing up that way, did that help you develop a love for the land and being able to use it to grow things?
Yeah, and this land is special. My husband laid this garden out probably 45 years ago, and it's just precious, and I like to see the garden growing.
Oh, we love you. As someone who was lucky enough to get adopted as one of Emalie's grandchildren, we love getting to come here and see and walk through her beautiful garden. So how do you manage to maintain it all?
Well, my children help. I usually find if I just spend an hour or two in the garden most mornings, then it really seems to keep itself.
So you mentioned mornings. What does that do for you to start your day in the garden?
Oh, it's just exciting each day to get up and see how big the pumpkins are and what else has come up, and it's just a reason to get up in the morning.
I know I love spending time in the morning in my own garden every day, and I feel like it really helps to get the day off to a great start.
It does indeed.
So Emalie, being one of your grandchildren, I know it is always so exciting at Christmas time when we get one of those prized jars of raspberry jam. You do a lot of preserving, not just growing. Tell us about the preservation methods and techniques that you've learned and used over the decades of gardening.
Well, I guess I started pressure canning when I was a girl. I remember helping my mother do that. In fact, one time she was away and I had done some beets. I had pressure canned some beets, and I couldn't get the lid off, and it had wooden handles. And I took a hammer and I beat the handles off, and I still couldn't get. Anyway, I've been preserving that way for a long time. Of course, now we have freeze dryers, and I love that for my raspberries. And also, I have a really good butternut squash soup I make and freeze dry, so someday I will enjoy that. But I use the freezer too. When I grew up, we didn't have freezers in the home. We had to go downtown to a building that had little places you could rent to put your frozen food in. But now we all have freezers, so.
Well, and what a blessing that is. Now, what advice would you give for someone who is just getting into food preservation, especially canning? I feel like sometimes it's a lost art. When I first started canning our own salsa, it was a little intimidating. I was worried I was going to do it wrong and that the food was going to make my whole family sick. So what would your advice be to someone who wants to get into canning and preserving in ways that have been around for decades, but we don't see as often?
I always like to follow proven good methods for canning. I like to go to the extension service and check out their booklets, and that sometimes they have classes where they teach you how to pressure can, because it's important that we do it right to keep our families safe. So make sure you have a good book or a good resource to know how to do it properly and do it safely.
Yes, that is such great advice. There are so many good resources out there to teach us how to do it. So, Emalie, you are extremely well-rounded. Not only do we get jam, but all of our babies get homemade quilts. Everyone who gets married gets a quilt. She's on a dance team. How would you say gardening has contributed to your overall health?
Well, like I say, it's a reason to get up in the morning, and it keeps me agile, hoeing. I don't get down on my knees as much as I used to.
Starting your day outside with God's creations all around you, is it almost like a spiritual thing?
It is.
What would you say to people who might want to start gardening but think they're too old?
Well, I think that if they just get started, they'll find that it's really enjoyable and a good way to keep active and get the prize of watching things grow. Like you say, it's a spiritual thing to see what the Lord has put here for us that we can grow, and so we can have our own food.
Such great wisdom and advice. So as we can see here, you have a garden full of all sorts of things. What are your favorite things to grow, and what gives you the most satisfaction when it comes harvest time?
You know, tomatoes, I really like to bottle my own tomatoes, and I like to make salsa, so I have onions and peppers and tomatoes. Pumpkins are so much fun. I just like it all.
You know what? I think a lot of us feel the same way. I know your grandson does. Tomatoes, peppers, and onions are his essentials in our garden because he loves making and canning our own salsa. And it tastes so much better, right?
It tastes so good.
Now, the big moment, what we've all been waiting for. Emalie, what is the secret, the key to your success in staying active and healthy at your age?
I really think the secret is having lots of worthwhile things that you're interested in to do. When I retired from school teaching, I had a list of things that I was going to do. And I like to sew and quilt, and I love to dance. And I just think having a broad range of things that you're excited about really helps.
I agree. You know what? At all stages of life, it's important to have things you're excited about. And I love that you shared that advice, and I think it can apply to everyone, not just those who are in their golden years, maybe wanting to start something new, but from teenagers to young mothers to empty nesters and beyond. Well, Provident Gardeners, what a treat it has been to be with Emalie today. You heard it straight from her decades of a wonderful life lived. The secret, the key to a well-rounded, successful, healthy life is not just in the food you grow, but the time you spend in your garden, working the soil, and the other activities. Whether you're 29, 59, or 89 like Emalie, it's never too late to start. And now we would love to hear from you. What is holding you back from starting or expanding your garden? Don't be afraid to get a little dirt under your fingernails. Every plant starts with a seed. Every garden, a single step. So it's time to turn that dirt into dinner.